Yeah, Boyle. So it's April 2021. So these are the next pairs of shoes. So these ones here have come all the way from California in America to the UK. So around about 4,000 miles, according to Google. And they're in for repair, basically. So this shoe here, I've tested it, and it operates perfect. So this one is a good one. So this one will last about 9 hours on one charge. Well, at least 9 hours we've had it on so far. Then I switched it off, and this one is fine. So these shoes here are actually the 2020 3.1 Nike Mag replicas. So absolutely beautiful. You can tell that they're replicas. I mean, because the fact that we know they are, but also the mouldings and things so when you look closely, you've got all the moulding marks on here. Still, you wouldn't have those on an original pair. Plus on here, obviously original pairs are are 10,000, 12,000 pounds, versus these ones here which cost about 450 brand new. And so these are beautiful. So they have a really clear, and you can always tell the quality shoes, because this part here is particularly clear. On the cheap ones, which are fair play, they're much cheaper. This is much more yellow. So this is nice and clear white. The material here is also this sort of smooth grey material here. Bubbles are really good. And so all the LEDs line up pretty well inside, so that's nice. And also you can tell about replicas as well is regarding the letters. So on the replicas, they have a square N here. The originals are much more rounded. They also have a different part here on the G, and a different part here on the M. They're much thinner on an original pair. So plus also there's also some definition differences on here on the swoosh tick as well. So that's different as well on a genuine one. But otherwise these are absolutely sweet. They've got a good nose on them. They're really lovely. Laces go inside here, which is nice. Yeah, and then just a quality unit. So like I said, this one here, it charges off. See these new versions, they charge off a 3.5mm jack, and I think that the earlier 3.1s, I think I remember rightly, they had a 2.5mm jack or 2mm jack. So it's really small, really delicate. But when you now take these ones here apart to repair them, they've definitely upgraded it. They've definitely upgraded a weak area. So you can see here now that it's now braced. So now the charger socket is 3.5mm and it's braced as well. So it feels really solid. Obviously to be careful inserting your charger, not to break off this part, but that's quality. Okay, so anyway, this one here, absolutely spot on. Shame it's not very dark actually. I'll just show you. It's absolutely, I mean at night time, absolutely beautiful. Just switch it on. Look at that, beautiful. And so the on-off switch is just in here. Lovely. Okay. So that now I've recharged that'll go back in the box, so that's excellent. And like I said to you, at least 9 hours of charge on one charge, so that's great. So this one here, this is the faulty one. So there's a few parts on this one. So first of all, I had to cut a hole in the bottom. That's what you have to do. As neat as I could, of course. Obviously it's all folded. Obviously all the material still is there. It's just folded forwards. That's all. And that's to access the battery. So the battery's underneath a cover in the middle. You can lever up. It's very difficult to access because, of course, you don't want to get any marks on the shoe. So what I do is I cover the shoe in a large sock, to try and protect the material from getting dirt or grease or whatever on it. But yeah, cut it open, pull out the cover, and then you access the battery. And this is the battery here. So I tested this. I tried to charge up on my drone charger, and basically it won't charge. So it's knackered. So that's fine. So that's common. So this one here, and you can see from here, that's the part number 523450. I've ordered a 503450. 50 it means it's 5mm thick, rather than 5.2mm thick. Virtually the same. 34 by 50. Two wires here rather than 3. So that's that. 3.7 volt, 1000 milliamp. Part number is 5. Yeah, of course it's 523450. So that's that. So I've ordered a new one of those. So I tested it, confirms it's not working, so that's fine. There's also a damaged wire in there as well, which I managed to get in there and solder, which is incredibly difficult because there's just no room. But a little bit of solder on there, some heat shrink on that, job done. Moving around the back. So actually, I'm just going to quickly change filming locations quickly, because I know my kids are coming downstairs in a second, and then I can't even be bothered to pause this. Right. Okay. So looking at the shoes. So big thing about these shoes here is you can't use heat. So I'm used to using the heat gun on all the mags I do, all the cheap mags I do, in order to be able to heat up various parts of it here, heat up all of this to be able to remove it. You can't heat it with it. This material here literally melts. So you put the heat gun on it, and I literally went to pull away the cover here because I wanted to heat this up, like you know, and then move it away. And what it did is instantly, as soon as I got my plastic tool in there, literally the material just fell apart. So obviously it doesn't. So obviously I stopped like instantly and left it, and everything else is fine. So you cannot use a heat gun on these. What that means is you're not going to be able to heat this up to remove these LEDs, to replace them with ELs or whatever. You're not going to be able to heat this up either, to be able to peel this back to replace this properly. So you're going to be a bit stuck to be able to modify it. But luckily we're not at that. We're not doing that at this stage. So just something to be aware of. So what I had to do then is I had to basically cut round here as close as I could by peeling this back a little bit and getting there with a nice sharp knife to better gently peel it, sort of cut away in between the glue. So I've done you know, as neat a job as I can, and that'll be fine. And then today, once it's back on again there and glued on, you will sort of see this bit here, but this bit here is luckily under the corner because I started, you know, under the edge there. So you better see it like that, but that's fine. So anyway, that's cut off. So when I was in here, you've got the main control board in here. So again, like I mentioned to you, it is different from the earlier ones, which is good. And also, this is, like I said, this is a May 2020 at least shoe, because that's when the battery's dated. See, they cover it here in I forget what it's called now, but some sort of glue basically to seal the board in. I found one dodgy wire here that was crushed, so this little red wire here. So I've soldered that together and heat shrinked it. I think because these two wires here were trapped underneath this section here, so I've now, when I put them back in again, I'll then put them in the correct position here and just hot glue it down so we know it's in a sweet position. So the switch, so there's not really much you can do in regard to the circuit board. On previous shoes, you know, this bit here has been mullered, so I've been able to find new ones of those, solder them in, repair the damage, but you can't do anything with the electronics underneath here. It's all like microprocessors, that sort of stuff. There's just nothing you can do to that. You can replace this thing here, replace, you know, wiring and all that sort of stuff, but you can't do anything with the circuit board itself, really. And you can't just go and buy a new one because they don't sell that part. So if anything like that goes wrong, goes badly wrong, then you have to sort of convert the whole shoe to, you know, different ELs with a different inverter like I do with my cheap ones, you know. But then of course taking this apart will be difficult. But there you go. Anyway, this is this wire here goes up here, up to the switch, which is obviously mounted just up here. And this I believe is the fault. So what's happening now is, say now, at least now you can get the shoe to operate. Now the new battery's in and that wire's been repaired. But you press it, say, you know, 2 or 3 times, it'll work, and then it just won't work, or it won't turn off, you know, and or they'll not turn off randomly, you know, when you squeeze it, you know, 2 minutes later, then it won't turn on again. So it's an intermittent fault for that. So we know we fixed the battery, the wire, etc., but it's had another intermittent fault, and what I believe it definitely is the switch. So when I tested the switch with my electronic meter, you can press it, and what you'd find is it would change the reaction on the meter from opening and closing, but it wasn't closing the circuit fully. So it's going from a 1 to like a 0.15, showing there's a tiny bit of resistance where it's not fully closing, and it should be closing properly. So so I'm very, very sure that the switch is faulty. Also, I need to do more testing, but I believe the switch is faulty on that. And that's an easy way to test it, you know, by taking this off and just testing it with a meter, easy. So what I then did is you can then get something metallic like a screwdriver. Obviously that's not. Use a screwdriver, and all you can do is you can touch it on there, touch it on, lights come on, touch it off, lights go off, on, off, on, off. That's literally all we do. So I was just literally bridging it yesterday with the probe from the meter, and it's turning it on and off, and I did it about 20 times, on, off, perfect. So I'm pretty sure it's a switch. And again, the switch is showing resistance. So yeah, something to be aware of. So what I've got is, obviously the switch is in there. It's going to be incredibly difficult to replace that switch, because of course the wiring goes all the way down here, you know, and obviously I haven't got, I'm not in an area where I'm willing to stitch that or take it to a shop to get someone to try and stitch that. It's just not going to look crap. It's all going to be a bit of a bodge. So I'll see what the owner wants to do with these shoes. But I'm thinking of fitting a Sinclair C5 micro switch, nice little small switch, somewhere. Maybe sort of hang it underneath here, you know, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Put a switch, maybe just about here somewhere. A nice sort of quite a sort of flat switch. So again, you know, when it's on, you know, you can just press the on button there, put the strap round, job done. So that's what I'm thinking. So I've got some small Sinclair C5 switches that might fit really nicely in that section there. We don't really want anything in here in this particular section here. We could obviously route the wire through and have a little switch here, but you're sort of limited. I kind of think here might be the best place for it. So yeah, there you go. And I say that is absolutely beautiful shoe. That is really, really beautiful. I don't know if I can turn it on or not using this or not. I'll just try. Okay. See. You can see that on the film. Get 1/2 see. And that's it. There we go. Oops, just trying to get it in there. Okay, trying to get in there, good contact. So I'm pretty sure that is it. So yeah, absolutely really nice shoe. Just be aware that you can't use heat on these shoes anymore. Things like these ELs, these LEDs, you know, so you've always got that problem is when you put in, if you want to get rid of this, you know, and you want to put a modern inverter in, they can only handle just the EL part. They can't handle the LED part as well. So that's why people change it to, they change those to ELs as well. So EL, so it's electroluminescent panels, and then you can use one inverter. Whereas obviously that's LED, so you need to take those out in order to use the one power supply, if you were to convert those to, you know, if that was knackered. But anyway, hope that's of some use to people. If anyone was looking to fix stuff, then there you go, some tips for you there. Don't use a hot air gun. Cheers.